Hi. Today's video, it's going to be about, it's slightly born out of frustration because I was on the phone with this boot company, but this is about minimalist footwear, the barefoot shoe movement, being barefoot. I'll touch on some grounding too, but it's just, I've seen a huge difference in how I feel, not having any more back pain, stronger feet, higher arch, all that from going to the minimalist or barefoot shoe movement a few years ago. I've been doing videos for a couple years now, but it's been about 3 years, a solid 2 years of really implementing it. And it started with the sandal thing, and I got the Luna sandals and a couple others, and try to be barefoot as much as possible. I missed it this summer, but last summer when I was home, barefoot the whole time. And I went to Keds, Pro Keds here, because these afford me an inexpensive way to achieve the goal. And they're not perfect, but I prefer these because they have a classic style. I feel silly, but I'm just going to jump up here and lift my foot up so you can see. You guys know Pro Keds, don't you? Old school Keds. I went to Vans, Converse. I tried everything I could think of, but these were the ones that have the widest toe box for me. This pair in particular, for some reason, my big toe on that foot wants to rub a little bit more than on the other side. And I have a few more pairs of these, but I don't have that issue with. Even if you take the insole out of these, by the way, there's still a little heel riser in there you have to peel off. If you can't peel off without tearing apart that liner, just use the Spenco, the thin Spenco liner with no arch. You'll be golden. So I called whites because I wanted to have a minimalist work boot made. This is an idea I've had for a long time. I'm wearing these all the time, but they're not great for work. Stuff drops on them, they're not easy to clean that way. You can throw them in the wash, but I'd still prefer a heavy duty leather boot with zero rise and a wide toe box. And when you look at if you're not familiar with Rose Anvil, check them out. That guy deconstructs boots, cuts them in half. He's got a ton of followers. It's really informative. Many of you are lucky, or maybe you think you are, and you're probably not as lucky as you think you are, that you don't have any real foot issues, maybe not a lot of back issues and all that. That's fine. But the thing you have to understand is that footwear, for the most part, is designed for fashion, not really your health. When you look at heavy duty boots that have a high heel rise to them and a steel shank and all these cool, they look cool. But what you're really doing is you're putting your foot into a cast. That's what you're doing. You're spending, and especially if you buy these high-end boots, you're going to spend $400 and up, $400, $600, $700, $800 or more for this beautiful handmade boot. You're putting a cast on your foot. Your foot is no longer functioning the way nature intended. I think there's 27 bones in your foot, or 127 bones? 27 bones in your foot, right? Something like that. Your feet are designed to move and manipulate over the ground and send messages up to your brain so your body does all the right things it needs to do to stay upright. That's how it's supposed to work. When your heel is higher, you're putting all kinds of pressure on the ball of your foot. You're shortening your Achilles tendon, your calf muscles, all of it. It's just not good for you. People just don't realize it. And I was wearing these heavy duty boots for decades. And it got to the point where I started having an issue where it was forcing my toe in on my right foot more so. And I developed like an arthritic joint. It's been a disaster. It started in 2011, and I tore a ligament or something in that foot, and it just got worse from there. In the last couple of years, I've pretty much corrected it. That joint is still larger than the one on my left foot, but there's not as much pain now. I can finally pop that joint. It's amazing, but it's not perfect. So when you think about a work boot and you think about minimalist footwear, you really have to find a happy medium there. I don't see why you can't take any of the boots that have like a solid sole, not the ones designed with a heel, but with that crepe sole, whatever they call it, that usually is that Vibram white sole. You'll see that the heel is still higher there on those. I don't see why you can't design that boot to have no steel shank, no heel rise whatsoever, zero rise with a wide toe box, of course you wouldn't have the super flexibility of a true minimalist shoe, but that's okay. Those boots will break in and they'll become way more flexible, but they'll still never be what these are. I'm going to take it off while I'm talking to you so you can understand how flexible these things are. And that's what I want. I want a boot that would have like maybe a quarter of an inch of that foamy sort of material with a Vibram sole under it, but still with zero rise and a wide toe box in leather so that it wears better. If something, you always oil them. If something drips on, you can kind of scrape it right off. Look at this. Look what I could do with this. You won't do that with a leather work boot. I understand that. These things there's nothing to these things. This app, actually I did put the Spenco insole in here, the green one. I can feel everything when I'm walking on it, but it's enough protection, right? So you can walk around and do things. I have a buddy, he was having a lot of back problems. He's back in Georgia now, and he went to a chiropractor. Chiropractor specifically told him to wear a minimalist shoe and walk on uneven ground. He happens to be in a disc golf, and so walking out there on the route, the disc golf route, where you're walking over roots through the forest and all that, that really helps. And so that's really all I'm looking for. I talked to this person at White's today, and I'm trying to explain to her, she's familiar with the movement. First I sent an email and I did get a response. And they basically are saying they don't do it. They got too many other things to do. That's what the girl said today. But as she was trying to explain to me why they do what they do, she's basically telling me what they're doing, and I know that what they're doing is worse for, and I said it to her. I said, listen, I understand this is how you're making boots, been doing it forever, people are happy, but it's wrong. I said, I understand what I'm saying to you is bad for business, right? But those boots with a steel shank or a leather shank, whether it's got an arch or not, they've got a lot of lasts. Lasts are these wood forms that they build the boot around. They have different types. They have some that are designed for a wider toe box for people that have foot problems, less of an arch support kind of designed into the last, all those things. That already exists. But I told her, it was what I'm telling you. I wore these heavy-duty boots for years, and what happened was my feet became flatter and flatter and weaker and weaker. And I would have back issues from time to time. And so once I went to the minimalist footwear thing, and it takes some getting used to, now I'm there. And my feet now have a high arch. My feet are stronger than they've been since I was a kid. And I almost never have any real back issues. And it's all from that. As far as the grounding thing goes, it's a real thing. You're healthier if you could be outside barefoot with your feet on the ground. We have electricity in us. There's an electrical system within our system, and we can ground to the earth. It's just a healthy thing. You can't ground to the earth if you got rubber on the bottoms of your feet. Now, there has been some design put into some footwear from some companies where they're trying to combat that with, literally, they're using wire as thread and sewing the sole on, or they're using a copper, rivet or something from the bottom that makes contact with the ground that's in the sole that then gets into the threading of the sandal. Sandals have that. And so technically it's supposed to help you to ground. I don't know how well that actually works. I don't know if anybody's actually put a little tester to it to see, but that would be cool. If you could design a minimalist work boot with a wide toe box, zero rise, that has a little bit of cushion. If I'm on concrete all day, it would be nice, with a Vibram sole so it'll wear better. Those white soles that come on those work boots, I wear those out in 4 months. They're worn out. I need new ones already. So that's why I started when I had my Danners. Some of you may remember, I've done videos on them in the past. I've got a lot of pictures and stuff on Instagram going back many years where you would see me with these Danners and I'd be getting them resold. And they all came with that white sole. Sometimes I bought a new pair of boots. I brought them right to the shoe guy who did not survive the pandemic situation. He's gone forever now. A lot of businesses closed because of that. But he was able to take that sole off, put a layer of the foam, put a flat Vibram sole on there for me, and the Vibram sole it just lasts a lot longer. Anyhow, this is my goal. I wish I could just design this shoe with a bootmaker. Turns out there's a guy on YouTube, Brian the Bootmaker, and he's here in Los Angeles. I just reached out to him this morning. I'm going to send him this video. I hope he has a chance to watch it and understand what I'm going for, and maybe we can make it happen. I truly believe that this is a huge moneymaker. Now, it wouldn't be for a guy like him, because he's not going to sit there and just make one style of boot forever. But that style of boot could be taken to a manufacturer that could. And the first company that comes out with a solid, heavy-duty work boot that's relatively minimalist, understanding that there's some compromise there with the thickness of the sole, that company is going to make money. And just so you understand, look at your feet. When you were born, your toes were not pushed in. When you were a kid, your toes were not pushed in. Your toes probably didn't start bending in until you were late teens, 20s, 30s, and beyond. That's all because of the footwear that you're wearing. That's not normal. Some people don't like the look of a wide-toe shoe because it looks like clown shoes. I don't give a crap what it looks like. There's ways to make things look cool. That's what I do for a living, make things look cool. But you can figure it out. I would rather be healthy, have room for my toes to splay out when I'm walking the way your feet are designed to do, than have some pointy toe shoe that's fashionable that literally cripples me, makes me less healthy, makes me sicker. That makes no sense. And really, not to get all hippy-dippy on you, but that's the same thing with everything. I only want to wear 100% cotton clothing or silk or any other natural fiber. I try to stay away from things that are 50-50, any type of nylon, that sort of thing. Oil-based products. These are products that literally get us hooked more on fossil fuels. Not that I'm against fossil fuels. We need them. Fine. I'm just saying, you have to think about how the chemical reaction that's happening between the products that you're wearing on your body, how that interferes and interacts with your system. We're being poisoned all the time by what we're choosing to wear to be fashionable, what we're putting in our bodies with food and everything else. We're not getting enough exercise, on and on and on and on. But just start with your feet. Just think about your feet. I think that what I'm saying should be getting through to you. Look at your feet. If you see that your toes are bent in, that's not good, man. That's not good. You were not born that way. Watch a baby walking. Watch a 2-year-old walking around. 1 to 2. They're walking up on the balls of their feet. That's overly dramatic because they're children, they're learning to walk, but that's basically how we're supposed to be walking. We're not supposed to be driving our heels into the ground. When we're running, those running shoes with the thick sole on the heel, and people are running, landing on their heels, that is not healthy. The guys that win these long distance runs, they're running barefoot, most of them, or they're running in sandals. They're landing on the balls of their feet. Watch them do it. Relearn how to walk and run. Barefoot shoes, minimalist shoes, being barefoot, grounding. Start thinking about this stuff. Change the outcome of the rest of your life from this moment forward. Just with that one simple step. Trust me on this. If you've been having back issues, look at the shoes that you're wearing. Try it out. It is not easy. It can be very hard for some people to transition. It takes time. I jumped right into it. Had a little bit more pain probably because of it, but that was several years ago, and I'm good to go now. These are all I'm wearing now. Or Ugg boots. I still love my Ugg boots. So, something to think about. If you're a boot maker and you're watching this, try to get something out of it. I'm going to send this video over to White's. It's just a crazy thing. It's antithetical to their marketing system and their way of thinking. And I don't expect them to just jump on this and then stop making everything else that they're making. But everything else they're making, as cool as it is, it's not healthy. It's not healthy, period, for anybody. Just because thousands of people have been using the product forever, they just don't understand. They might have all these other issues with back issues and foot issues and everything else. They think that spending more money on an overpriced cast that looks cool to put on their foot is the right thing to do, and it's actually not at all. They'd be better off being barefoot. As crazy as that sounds, that's just the truth. So I'm just putting this out there because I'm hoping other people will see it. If there's a company that eventually sees this and needs a guinea pig, basically somebody to wear a minimalist work boot in a work environment, you can't find a better dude than me to do it. I will do it. I mean, I want to pay. I will pay. If this Brian the boot guy wants to work with me, I'm going to pay him whatever he wants to help me design this boot. That's probably what's going to happen. I hope, if he gets back to me. I don't know. Anyhow, have a great day. Be good to one another. Try to help others out. That's all I'm trying to do right here with this video. I'll catch you next time.